it was shortly after I got married, you know, like 15 minutes. But friends of mine and I were encouraging my husband to get up on stage and perform, and so he started doing it, and he got hooked like that. And I was supporting him in it, but you know, he would say, "You need to come to the open mic workshops with me," and I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "To support me in this." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So anyway, here we go. I start going every week, watching these people getting up. I'm thinking, man, that guy is so smooth on stage. He's so comfortable. He's so in command. There's only one thing. I could write funnier stuff than him. And so I would write jokes, and I would offer it to these people. And they'd say, if you think you're so funny, you get up. And so like 2 years after we made Jim get up on stage, I did finally. And I've been doing it ever since. And that was in 1987 I got up. I vibrated nervously the entire 3 minutes I was on stage. And I did that for like the first 6 years, you know, or more, you know, vibrated nervously every time I was on stage. I thought everybody could see it too. You know, it's tragic, but I loved Bill Cosby when I was a kid. I listened to the Chicken Heart, boom, 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 you know, and there was another comedy guy that I can't think of his name, but I used to listen to his records just as much too. He was, I remember he had a checkered jacket on the record album cover, and I think that he was Reverend Jim Gardner or something like that. And I'll have to look it up sometime and find out. But you know, this was back in the '60s and early '70s, and then my more recent influences would be like, well, people compare me to Paula Poundstone sometimes, although I didn't watch her that much, but I guess I'm kind of like her. But I liked Rita Rudner. I've been introduced as this next comic coming to the stage has to explain her jokes to Stephen Wright. And then, let's see, Carrie Snow. A lot of people don't know who she is, but she's hilarious. So that's some of my influences. Oh, and I've got to say Wendy Liebman. Definitely love her. You know, sitcoms, I liked shows like Taxi and Frasier and Cheers. I really haven't watched too much comedy. I mean, like I said, I really hadn't seen Paula Poundstone all that much. You know, although I have finally seen her in person a few years ago. I got to see George Carlin about 6 months before he passed, so, you know, that was cool. But, oh, Carol Burnett's show. Loved that show, and actually owe a lot of my writing skills to Gene Perrette, who was one of her head writers and won Emmys, and he wrote a book that, you know, gave a lot of great advice for writing comedy. Carol Burnett. I don't get to see very much TV or movies or anything like that, but I did go to see, what was that, Trainwreck movie with, what's her name? See, and this is one of my problems with comedy. I have a really hard time accessing memory. In fact, you know, some of my best jokes involve the fact that I have a terrible memory. But she's been really big lately, and she's known as, I mean, they're starting to accuse her of being a thief. You know who I'm talking about. You know, Amy Schumer. Yes, that's it. I really liked her movie, though. I mean, that was funny with LeBron James in it and everything. I was laughing out loud, literally. And it's hard to make comics laugh out loud, but, you know, her movie, she had some moments in there that were genuinely funny. But that was like a year ago. I don't get to see very much. Well, there's a guy out of Denver named James R. Zingelman. I'd like to work with him. He's also a hypnotist. But for names that people would recognize, I guess I would like to travel with Wendy Liebman or Chris Fonseca in there. He's fun.
So we were going to do a workshop.
I suppose Jerry Lewis, because I thought he was brilliant in his early days. I'm not really pleased about him today, but I think that would be interesting to see him try and roast a female comic after he tells people that females aren't funny.
So far, nobody in there is interested.
So there's one.
He's okay. They're not paying attention.
Nah, I'm alright.
Let's see.
I'm cool.
All right. Well,
George Carlin, because I kind of write like him.
we have an option.
Carol Leifer. She's funny. I like her.
I'm John. You're Anthony, right?
Yes, sir.
Robin Williams.
Alright.
And let's see,
The
one
amount of
more.
comments you've been getting, don't-
Just for a little difference, I'd say Richard Pryor would be at last.
but,
Because we're so opposite. I mean, he's funny and I'm struggling. Yeah. So anyway. I have the feeling that maybe someday I would have a comedy movie script in me. And every now and then I will jot something down that happens and say, that would make a great scene. So I'm like a quilter picking up all these pieces here and there. One of these days I'm going to actually sit down and get it all together and maybe have a movie script. I just keep treading water, and I don't imagine, unless something miraculous happens, I imagine it's just going to be doing open mics around town like I always have. But if I get that movie script written, I do have enough context that if it's as good as I think it could be, I could get it in front of somebody who could get it made, and that could change things entirely for me. Online and social media would be Facebook. Sara be Sirius, and that's Sirius. I picked that as my stage name in 1989 and got it into a couple of print articles, so I stuck with it. But I had it before the radio station and before Harry Potter and Sirius Black. I've had it forever. So. A lot of times the experience that they do leave with, and I like this, is they're like, those other people didn't get your jokes, but I think you're funny. They're just not smart enough. And so I feel like, if people leave feeling like they just flunked a Mensa entrance exam, that's a good set for me. So check out my interview on cutiepie.com.